Thought I'd show you guys my diorama. It's been a while since I posted a video, but I figured now that I put together this diorama, which I have attempted to use for some of my D&D 5th edition campaign, but I'm thinking of actually, I wish I could get a Hackmaster campaign started, as I very much prefer that game system. I really think it's outstanding. So, but these are traditional first edition D&D Otherworld models, which really look fantastic, to be honest. And I really love this iconic statue. And what I'm going to walk you through is this dungeon that I've put together using Dwarven Forge terrain. And you'll see here that what we have are hobgoblins. These are hobgoblins in this part of the dungeon. They're in front of an altar, perhaps doing some, we're definitely doing some nefarious activities in front of an evil altar in front of that statue. And you'll see that they also have some gold in the back, of course. And there's a whole group of these hobgoblins here. Let's see if I can gradually show you or unveil the dungeon to you guys so you can see it. What you'll see here is we have goblins, which and the hobgoblins here in this group. Let me see if I can zoom in so I can do justice to these models. You see that? It's hard to keep my hands steady. Apologies for that. You'll see here we've got a goblin mage. And what you have here, goblin archer. Right there. And again, this is the part of the goblin wing. So you've got hobgoblins and goblins. And let's see if we can see more of them. I'm going to kind of walk you through. They're well painted goblins. They're painted by the very talented Bohan. And you can see them all. Let's see if I can keep them in. They are in a big chamber. I'll zoom back on the chamber so you guys can see it. There's got some guys on the chamber. Hobgoblin, goblin chamber, and you'll see that the tribe of goblins and hobgoblins are on alert right now because there's a group of adventurers that have invaded the dungeon. And you'll see that they are actually on the move. And right here you'll see the first adventure. You can see him right there. He is a warrior. Let's take a look at him. And behind him is a bard. You can see the bard. Behind him is a ranger with his trusty dog who's fighting a gnoll. It's an Otherworld gnoll. And you've got another fighter, more like a druid type fighter. And you've got a drow thief, actually, right here. See if we can take a look at the drow thief. A little hard to see. And they actually have a whole bunch of monsters are converging on them. They're in the center of the dungeon, as you can see here, and you've got a bunch of gnolls converging on them, that is. You got gnolls here, and if you will continue going down this passage, you'll see more gnolls. So you got some gnoll right there. Let's see if I can hopefully get them in focus. See the gnolls. And it's not just, and the knolls actually continue going further. Let's see if I can show you these guys without, yeah, so you've got, look at these knolls here. Again, this is the knoll part of the dungeon, and they are converging on the group of adventurers here. And moreover, you have some bugbears that are actually, if you go down this part of the passage, you will see the bugbears. And here's what's in, so this is truly a typical first edition D&D type dungeon, in that you have so many different type of species, also close to each other, literally in the next room. A little bit unrealistic, but a hell of a lot of fun. And for me, first edition was where it's at. I mean, that's what I grew up with. So I wanted to make this dungeon be a first edition dungeon. And I thought perhaps some of you out there would be a kindred souls and would understand that. And let's take a look. See if I can zoom in on these bugbears. So you got the bugbear chieftain right here. Right? And you've got another bugbear there. And let's see if we can zoom in on these guys. It's hard to get focused. There we go. And there we go. Otherworld, those are Otherworld bugbears. Now, let's get back to the knolls here. As you can see here, these bugbears are converging on the, as are the knolls, are converging on this adventuring party here that's actually has made the mistake of basically waking up most of the dungeon. Now what you see here is that there are also orcs that are converging. So you've got goblins, hobgoblins, and of course the goblins and hobgoblins are converging from the main room that I showed you. You also have orcs converging on them. And here are the orcs. These are Otherworld orcs. They're the classic pig-faced orcs from first edition. Let's see if I can zoom in on them so you guys can see them and hopefully appreciate the paint jobs of them, because they're well painted. And there you. And here, let's see if I can get a little hard to. There we go. They are all converging from their main room here, where you can see their spellcasters. Let's see if I can zoom in on the spellcasters. Those are the spellcasters. Hopefully they can get them in focus. And so what you see here is that's their orcs, their main room, and as they are converging on the adventurers as well. So at this point you have seen the goblins, hobgoblin area, which is this area with the statue and the altar with the nefarious activities going on there. Now you've also seen the orc area, which I just showed you. You've seen the gnolls that are coming in from this area and then beyond over there. You've also seen the bugbears that are right here. They're also converging in. Now what I have not shown you is perhaps the scariest monsters in this whole dungeon is over here. Let's see. So if you go through the goblin hobgoblin area and you go through this fantastic Dwarven Forge arch, let's take a look here. You will encounter the scariest thing for any low-level party, and that's trolls. And they are classic Otherworld trolls. Let's see if I can get pretty good focus on them. Let's try that. Oh yes, those are classic Otherworld first edition trolls. I love first edition trolls. Sorry about the focus, it's hard to get them in focus. There you go. And there's a total of 4 of them. There's another one sneaking over there. So, that is probably a TPK waiting to happen, given how powerful those are. There And again, but that's not all. There's more fun in this dungeon. So it turns out that there's actually 3 different parties that are in this dungeon. I showed you this one. If you go back closer towards the entrance, what you'll find is another party, and this one has a cleric, a ranger, that's a cleric type, a ranger, and a fighter, dual wielding fighter. And these guys are fighting kobolds, and they have just come down. Actually, I guess they couldn't have just come down, but there's a peculiar looking cave here that leads to the catacombs. I'll show you that in a second, but before I get to that, let me kind of show you the kobold area. So these are kobolds, if you can see them, and they're actually all coming to attack that group of adventurers in the center through this caverns complex. You can see more of them here, and more of them here. Kobold right there, and again they're going through this there, another kobold here, and this is actually one, oops, this is one of their, looks like I knocked one down here. This is their lair. Let's see if I can zoom in on, sorry about the bumpiness, let's see if I can zoom in on their lair here. Yeah. That's their lair, and you'll see here that you've got the women kobolds. These are Otherworld Miniatures again. You got the women kobolds, little baby kobolds. You got a guard kobold over there, and this is their lair. It looks like I knocked something down. Let's put that back. Yeah, and that's the kobolds. And from a passage extending from the kobold area, we have another adventuring party. Let me show you. They are fighting ogres. Traditional first edition ogres, which I love. Again, nostalgia from first edition D&D. Love it. See if I can get a good. This is an ogre magi. It has that oriental flair. Let's see if I can actually. I want you guys to appreciate this paint job. I hope I can keep it in focus. And that is one nasty ogre mage. Absolutely nasty. Look at that guy. And he is mercilessly attacking with his comrades here this party. Let's take a look at the party. The party, you have a mage. This is a Mierce miniature model. You've got a mage. See if we can get the mage in focus. Mage. You have a paladin with 2 axes actually. And you've got a warrior here. See if I can get the warrior in focus. And they are fighting some awesome first edition ogres. And there's a bunch of them. So let's take a look at this guy first. Yeah, that guy is like right out of the first edition D&D manual. How awesome is that? And over here, another guy, his buddy, and they are having at it. Now standing back is the ogre chieftain. Look at that guy. He looks pretty tough. Let's see if you can focus on him. He's standing back. Sorry. All right, let's take a look here. Let's zoom back a little. You'll see the 3 ogres fighting the party. Ogre chieftain, the ogre magi in their lair. And now let's move over to this cavern here, and what you'll find is a gorgeous ogress. Oh yes. She is quite a looker. Let's take a look. I'm sure for an ogre, she's very attractive. She's actually quite scary looking. And then her comrades in the back here. Now, that is the caverns. So I'll do another quick overview of it so you can see it all in person. Now, by the way, you should know that these guys do have treasure, and it's in the back here. You can see it right here. This is their treasure. Okay. Now let's zoom back and see. And by the way, all of this terrain, I think I mentioned it was Dwarven Forge. So now you can see the caverns. You've got the ogre area. You have the kobold area, which I showed you here. Right? Kobold area. Kobold area right here. Then you have the adventuring party there who's being ambushed from all sides by the gnolls. The gnoll area is over there, as I showed you. Bugbears there. And orcs. Orcs are coming in through this passageway. Pig-faced orcs at that, which again, classic first edition D&D stuff. And then, of course, the big chamber of the goblins and hobgoblins over there. And the trolls in that corner. Now, one way to get into this cavern complex is through this hole here, which actually leads up to this pit here in a crypt filled with undead. Let's take a look at the undead. Here's the undead. What you have is 2 whites, and you actually have this guy is the human form lich from Tomb of Horrors. And of course, he is ridiculous, as you guys remember, but I use him more as generically as some undead lord. You've got these 2 whites. They're, again, classic first edition whites. They're from Otherworld Miniatures. I love their stuff. And let's see if we can zoom in on them. It's hard to see them closely. It really isn't doing justice, these pictures, to them, but they're really nice looking. Now here's this. You have through this chamber, so that was the main chamber. You've got a classic looking ghoul, first edition ghoul from Otherworld Miniatures again. And you have some skeletons progressing out. And it turns out that these guys have all been activated by somebody out front at the graveyard, and I'll show you that shortly, who has disturbed these undead. And you can see this is the catacomb area of the diorama, as you can see. And now, who has disturbed the undead? Well, let's take a look. Turns out one of the nice things I like about this setup is that I can integrate a direct passage from the inside Dwarven Forge diorama to the outside, which is terrain that Terranscapes, Mike at Terranscapes, has really done a fantastic job. I commissioned him to build terrain over the span of, God, it must be 3 years, over 3 or 4 years. I had him build different terrain pieces. And here, you will see that that's the entrance to the catacombs, which can also lead to the caves that we just walked you through. But you will see that somebody has actually disturbed the undead. And you see him here. It is a wizard / necromancer. Looks more like a wizard, as he has shot a frostbolt at some of the undead as they converge on him. Now, what I want to show you guys, I want to show you how ridiculous the painting on this mini is, because take a look at this spell book. Nakatan painted this for me, and he did a fantastic job. Take a look at the spell book here, and just look at the detail on it. This is a 28mm mini. He just did a fantastic job. So, and Bohan did a fantastic job with all the other minis as well, these undead. You'll see here, they're all converging on them. Maybe let's try to take just a quick peek at some of these undead so you can appreciate. So you've got some skeletons here. Skeletons here. You've got some zombies here. Look at this skeleton here. Some of them have shields. See if I can get it to focus. And focus. This is actually an undead dwarf. Otherworld Miniatures, that's an undead dwarf. Skeleton knight with his shield. Undead halfling. And there's actually an undead elf here. Look at that. See if I can get him to... Yep, undead elf. And they are all converging on our friend the wizard. So again, one of the things I have been doing with this diorama is I'm trying to show little tidbits, little scenes. A bunch of little scenes are all in this big diorama that I put together. And little stories. So this guy looks like he's going to have his hands full with all that undead. Oh, he looks pretty tough, right? So he may make it through. It's a mausoleum, tabletop world, outstanding models. And now you've got a road there. Let's kind of zoom out so you guys can zoom out and see. So you can see there's the dungeon. Now, going through more of the diorama, let's take a look. What do we have here? We have a campsite for Adventurers Campsite. Let's take a quick peek at that so you guys can appreciate some of the painting. So this is the tent. These are Otherworld Miniatures, the tent. And let's see some of the detail on these items. Yes. Hopefully I can keep it in focus. And that is a tough dwarf. And you have here a Redbox Games model. Really nice model, painted by Sebastian Peak, and painted really well. Let's see if I can get him on focus. A little hard to get him to focus. There we go. And another model. Half elf. Another model. See if I can get this guy to be in focus too. Another model. And they are facing a scary owlbear. Let's take a look. Okay, come on, focus, people. The nasty owlbear. Now, let's keep going. So as you can see, these guys are right next to a road. They're fighting right next to a road. They're near the graveyard, and they're fighting right next to this road here. Why don't we follow the road? Let's go follow the road a little bit. Follow it. Makes a T intersection, then it goes off to the right and left. Let's follow it to the left. And what you're going to see here is there is a thief / assassin who is making his way towards an unwary adventurer. It's actually an unwary merchant, traveling merchant perhaps. And that is him right over here. Let's take a look at him. He's walking away. He's laden with a bunch of stuff. He's traveling probably to the docks, which I'll show you in a bit. He's traveling on his way down the road. He will then take a right on, probably to the docks, to the dock town. It's the port town of Mierce. And let's see if I can get a good look at him. It's hard to focus. Let's see. Yeah, so he's coming after our poor, hapless, unsuspecting traveling merchant. Now, if you look back in the distance, you will see that there's a town in the distance. Let's start going up that road and see what we discover. So you see, if you take a right here, what you find is you immediately hit some farmland. And we've got the farmland here. And you got a bunch of farmers. Why don't we just take a quick peek at each one, just quickly. You got this working the fields. Zoom in. You can appreciate some of the painting. Right. Then we can zoom in over here and we can see another. There we go. Oops, it's hard to keep in focus. And here, so we've got working the fields again. You've got two that are talking here, two farmers. This gentleman. Not sure I can move in to show. A little hard to get a focus on him with the lady in front of him. Let's take a look at a little more here. If you look closely, you will see, oops, sorry, that this farmer actually has some tattoos on his arms. Tattoo on his left arm. Alright, so that, my friends, is the farmland. Let's zoom out a little bit so you can appreciate it. You go back at the perspective again, the large perspective. And let's move towards town. We'll follow up this road. Now you'll start seeing some of the tabletop world models. In tabletop world, it's fantastic models. And why don't we zoom in and see if we can zoom in on the blacksmith here. See if we can zoom in without losing focus. This is one of my favorite models here. Actually looks more like a strongman, but I've been using him as a blacksmith. Really well painted. Painted by the talented Sebastian Peak. And you'll see some townsfolk, children. See if we can let's try to zoom in on little baby. Not focusing well. You can see there's some nice freehand work on the young girl, little boy. There's another little boy here. And over here you see a buxom lady, perhaps a lady of the evening, dressed to the nines, right in front of a nice townhouse 3. And over in the distance you'll see more building. This is a road. You can zoom back a little. And we can, I'll just, you know what, I want to zoom in on that guy way in the distance. Let's see if I can keep focus on him. I know it's going to be hard. Let's just see if I can get him in focus. There we go. It's not bad. You can see that guy that can't move too far. That guy is carrying a big chest. Let me zoom back. Now you'll see, you see the guard tower here. Let's take a look at the guard tower. So this is a tabletop world guard tower. Now you should know that the interiors of these buildings are fully accessible. So let's take a quick peek here. And you can see it's furnished there with 2 beds and a table. Right? That's the top of the guard tower, and there's actually other floors to it. I just can't access them and show you right now as I have to hold the camera. And here is a guard. See if If I can zoom into him. Yeah, he really looks, I like him. Painted well. Now, take a look at these guys. Looks like a merchant and a townsfolk just talking here. Let's try to zoom in on this guy as well, just to see what we can see. I really like the freehand on some of this. Yeah, let's zoom back. It's hard to keep focus. And what you have here is a mule handler with his mule, presumably selling wares. Let's see if I can get this guy in focus now. Yeah, a little hard to get in focus. He is at the, get him focus from, he's got his wagon, his covered wagon. And now you'll see that there's a bridge that crosses a river. See the bridge that crosses a river to get to the area that now has the castle. And what you'll see here is this is a whole set of buildings in front of this fantastic castle, which is the pride and joy of my collection. And why don't we go ahead and take a look at this tavern area as I see it, another one of the scenes that I put together here. One of my favorite ones. So let's look at this. You've got the barkeep behind the Dwarven Forge bar. There's the barkeep. There's his wife. You've got his wine handler, presumably, I don't know, moving one of the casks of wine. Now you've got the patrons, just having a grand old time, drinking, being merry. Let's see if I can zoom in on these guys just a little more. And I really want to show you some of the freehand work on these models. Really nice. It's funny, I really can't discern so many details in the models unless I take a picture of them or use a camera like this. Then it really allows me to zoom in. I need a magnifying glass. The details are so small. Come on. I'm trying to show. Well, you'll notice on her apron, if you look closely, her apron actually has flowers that were free painted on. And these guys are just partying. This guy's just lost it and he's passed out. He's having a grand old time. And this guy looks more of a, let me see if I can zoom back and get a better view of this guy. Yeah. This guy looks more like a well-to-do patron. Yep. Then you've got the musicians. The musicians, I can get the backs of the musicians in focus, but really it doesn't do it justice. I want to show you the front. So give me a second. What I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom into this guy first. You guys can see this little gnome fighter. It's an Otherworld gnome fighter. You guys can take a look. He's watching the festivities as well. Yeah. And now let's just see if I can figure out a way to actually show you guys. I'm going to try to show you guys the musicians because I really think they're nice looking. Let's see if I can do it. All right, here we go. Sorry guys, it's just kind of messy. There we go. They're there. There you go. There are the musicians from the front. Very well painted. Very happy with them. Can't keep them in the frame. So, those are the musicians. And one of the things that I also wanted to show you guys is how cool this is. Let's take a look. Again, Otherworld, or Tabletop World. Buildings just rock. Look, you can decorate them inside. Let's go ahead and move towards the main road here. This is the main road area in front of the castle, and you can see some of the models. Let's zoom in to Granny here with her rolling pin. Again, if you look closely, you'll see that she has a florid pattern, flowery pattern on her apron. Incredibly well done. Now, this is a tiny model, so very impressive. Here's the boy. Models again, just to show you again, they do have accessible interiors. Now, let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at this model. She is carrying some water. And there's a guard. There's a beggar. And that is a Tabletop World model. You can see here some more. Let's see if I can get these guys in focus. A mother with child talking to a rough-looking fellow. And there's a merchant there in the distance selling his wares. Selling his wares. Another working woman who is carrying her bread with, again, the florid apron. And let's see. And of course we have a merchant here that I haven't shown you guys. There's a merchant here. Nice. There you go. And again, to show you guys that that these models, you can take off the roof and you can see that they have furnished interiors. You know, it's a little unclear that the interiors are a little small, but you know, you could still do some role playing in there, some gaming in there. This one here, take a look at this. This also lifts, and again, you can see the interior has some furniture in it. And lastly, I'll show you guys this one as well. Take a look at that. Again, Tabletop World interior. Very neat. See here that. Okay. And I did want to show you guys this. So let's just take a look at this row of houses here. That's a Tabletop World Townhouse 3, that's a Townhouse 2, that is a cottage, and in the distance behind it you will see the castle. Very cool. Alright, why don't we go ahead and go around and take a look at this castle. We will zoom into some of them. So these guys are the guards of the castle. It's turn this guy around a little. He would be facing this way. We can zoom into him. He's the guard. There's, I think, 10 of them. And we can take a look at what he looks like. Hopefully we can get him in good focus. As you can see, the freehand on his shield is pretty fantastic. You'll see similarly on his cloak, you'll also see some freehand. It's really well done. And this castle does have an accessible interior. It has an accessible interior. I can't really show it to you right now, but I did want to show you. Here's the captain, the female captain of the guard. Let's see if we can zoom in on her. She is in one of the balcony areas of the... Hopefully I can keep her in focus. She is tiny and painted extremely well. Bohan did a fantastic job on her. And this is the interior area of the castle that she was overlooking. You can see her there overlooking the interior area of the castle. And before I show you guys the interior of the castle, let me just show you one other thing. So this is the Great Hall. I'm gonna show you that. I'm gonna pick up the top of the Great Hall, but I'm gonna pick up the top of the Great Hall, and you can see that there's furnishing in the Great Hall. It's got an interior that you can access. And now let me show you guys some of the archers. We've got archers on the battlements. Zoom into them. Take a look. Painted quite well. You've got a princess here. Take a look at her. See if we can get her in focus again. Yeah, Sebastian Peak painted her. See the free hand. Very well done. Now you can look at the courtyard area. And we'll take a look here. And we have one of my favorite models that was painted. Also by Sebastian Peak. He's one of the chief generals. It's actually a Mierce miniature model. Mananin is, I believe, the guy's name. Just looks fantastic. It's hard for me to show you here, but I'm going to try to get in. Ooh, I'm losing focus. I lost focus. There you go. Very nice model. Of course, you've got guards. Like I mentioned, you got some guards here and there. And another guard. And if you look in the other guard over there, and guard, and here is the church. They actually have a little church in the castle, and it has the corrupt bishop. You know he's corrupt because the guy is ridiculously. He has gold all over himself. He is ridiculously decked out, and only a person of the cloth who's corrupt would be so ostentatious in his wealth, right? Like it was perhaps in the Middle Ages. Let me take a look here. There's another archer, and I showed you that guy already. Of course, up here you've got another. You can see some of the freehand on the back of that guard, another archer. And let's take a look here. I did want to show you one more thing here. So you've got, again, another guard. And this banner, I really want to show you guys this banner, so give me a second, I'll do that. Another archer. And now, let me show you the sally port. This is this awesome sally port. Yet another guard here in the back. And now let me show you guys this banner. Again, painted by Bohan. Fantastic job, Bohan. Look at this banner. How wonderful is that? Now you got to understand how small this is. And he painted that by hand. He's a surgeon, just like Sebastian Peak's also a surgeon. I just have such talent. Just happy that I can patronize such talent, such talented artists. And here's another. This is the front gate. Well, there you go, guys. That's the castle. It really is my pride and joy. my collection. Let me show you a few more items here that I didn't show you last when I was on the other side of the table. And here you'll see a merchant. Oop, lost focus. See how long I can keep focus. Merchants, you guys can appreciate some of the work here, the painting. And there we go, lost focus. So just really nicely done. Now let's take a look here at this guy. This guy's pretty cool. He's a Otherworld miniature. And he is, looks like a well-to-do squire. I just call him a knight. I use him as a townsfolk. And you can see some really cool freehand on him. And he's right in front of this mansion. This is a mansion from Tabletop World. And you can see here, there's a lady, looks like a lady of the evening, I'd have to say, from, I think Reaper made this one, yeah. Take a look here. And then it goes back, that road goes back over to the other houses over there. Let's just kind of explore this side of the street. And you've got another townhouse 3, townhouse 2. Tabletop World, and now we've got these two townsfolk that are talking here. Let's take a look at them. Yeah, look at those guys. They're pretty cool, huh? There we go. And another big view of the diorama. You guys should know that I do, believe it or not, I do use these models and miniatures for some of the role-playing, D&D and Pathfinder. I haven't done Pathfinder in a long time, and Hackmaster, I love Hackmaster, but been doing a D&D 5th edition campaign that my brother's actually been running, so lately, but I definitely want to get back to Hackmaster, as I think the rules are fantastic, really are, really fantastic. I love what those guys do. Kenzer and Company. Let's take a look at this guy here. He's a blacksmith. He's a Reaper miniature blacksmith. You can see here he actually is with the Tabletop World blacksmith building. And you've got a nice fountain. Now I should note that, and of course you've got the townsfolks over here. We looked at from the other direction last time. We can look at their backs. See that? And I should note that the terrain here, the green stuff, the vast majority of it was, I commissioned Mike at Terranscapes to build it for me, and he just did a fantastic job, as you can see here. It took many years, I should note. He no longer does these types of boards. He only does special commissions, so unfortunately the window to get him to do this type of stuff is very limited, and it takes him a while. But his quality is, fantastic. So it was great work. And he did this bell tower too, so really nice work on it. As you can see, there are some crows on it, and of course I've got I just zoomed in on the guard. You guys could see that guy. He looks great. I like it. And we can take a look at the back of this guy. There you guys can see. Again, focus is always a little bit of a challenge, isn't it? So there we go. Nice. All right, and over there you can see that. Now here's another, so that you can zoom back and see the castle with the buildings in front of it. Now here is an ambush, another scene that I want to share with you guys. This here is a adventurer who is facing the wrath of some really some pretty cool looking goblin, humanoid type characters that look kind of like goblins and hobgoblins, not necessarily the first edition ones, but they are facing this big brawny beefy barbarian. Lost focus. This big brawny beefy barbarian, and let's see if I can keep him somewhat in focus. You'll notice he has this really cool battle stance, and he's yelling, and he's facing off against this guy who's coming at him. And if you look, he's got an audience of these guys here who are all really cool. Let's zoom into them. Focus. And I love these models. I believe the guys who made the models of Figon. And it was Jeremy Bonamont Thibault who painted these. Outstanding painter as well. Bowen painted the main guy. Just outstanding painters. He goes by JBT typically. All right, let's keep going. So what you guys have seen so far is you saw the dungeon over there. You guys saw the graveyard, it's over there. You saw the farmlands, you saw the town, all the townsfolk. You saw the castle, I showed you some of the castle. Now I'm going to show you guys the guard tower. So what you have here is a guard tower, and you've got a windmill and a guard tower. And it, unfortunately for the guys in the guard tower, they are being assaulted by a horde of savage barbarians that are coming up the road to assault them. So let's take a look at these barbarians, and then we'll come back to the tower, because the tower is quite cool. I want to do justice to these barbarians. So you guys, if you guys are anything like me, which some of you may be, I'm sure a lot of you probably aren't. Those who aren't probably would have already stopped watching this video. But if you're anything like me, you enjoy looking at beautifully painted minis. So let's just take a look at each one of these guys just quickly. Kind of enjoy really the artistry, because each one of these I really think is quite a work of art. It's a work of art. I'm going to try to get them in focus. And look at that. That guy looks badass. Look at that guy. Very powerful looking barbarian. All of these guys are on their way, and this guy just looks like he's lost it. I mean, look, he's a bloody mess. He's on these guys are all on their way, and that guy is one beefy, huge dude. And they are all on their way to attack this tower. And I did miss one guy I'm going to zoom in on. This guy's huge. He's got a disgusting axe with like flesh on it. Right. And by the way, these minis are from Mierce Miniatures, also from Redbox Games. So you can find these wonderful barbarian minis, and there's a lot of these buildings are tabletop world. And let's take a look at. Let's keep going down the horde. The horde of barbarians. Look at this lady. Okay, this is not safe for work, so I think she's a little bit topless. Again, ooh, lost focus. See if I can get. Here, guys. Look at that face paint. Pretty cool. Very cool. Well, let's move on to the next guys behind her. Just more barbarians. I don't know about you guys, but I'd be a little worried if I saw this horde of barbarians coming at my tower. This looks great. You know what's funny is that these guys there's so much detail in these models. They're so small that I really can only truly see all that detail through some type of a magnifying glass, like this video, for example. I do these videos. I'm doing this video not only to share with you guys, people who might enjoy it like I do, but also really so that I can enjoy it. Because I really can't see this detail from the naked eye. It's so small. It's truly amazing how these artists are able to paint so ridiculously well. It's really impressive. I'm happy that I'm fortunate enough that I can give them work and pay them for their skills, because they deserve it. You know, we should encourage this type of artistry, because it is really art. It's wonderful art. And I'm actually very happy that I can use it for my gaming. Because yes, I do game with these things, and I'll tell you this. Of course, I'm the only one who moves the models. But, not safe for work, guys. That's from Mierce Miniatures. It's one of the models they have. And let's see if I can keep it in focus. And here, look at this bit. So now we're getting to the leaders. These guys are actually at the bottom of the hill. You'll see here, and look at this bad boy. Wow, yeah. That guy is one tough looking dude. He is huge and tough. Let's take a look at him. You guys can see he's just coming down way at the bottom of the hill. And he is one bad hombre. You can zoom into him. We'll zoom into these guys just quickly again. You guys can see him. Go over here. And then we'll go over here. Look at that guy. Man. Yeah, I would be a little worried. Now, you guys saw the Barbarian Hordes, and they are coming after the poor guys here. So let's take a look at the guards in the guard tower. Okay, so let's take a look here. We've got one of the guards here with a crossbow at the parapets up here. And let's take a look at how she is. She's looking down. I'd be a little worried. I'd be more than a little worried. And I'm trying to get her in focus. Pretty well painted. Again, this is a Redbox Games Mini. Let's take a look at the higher parapet, and we'll see an archer. Again, aiming down. If we look down, you see the hordes. The hordes are on their way, my friends. It is not a happy sight. Not a happy sight whatsoever. Not a happy sight to see these guys, the hordes coming after the tower. And then we've got a. I think probably it's a good idea if this guy here, who's the front gate guy, I don't know if I can get him in focus. It's going to be a little hard, actually. The light's not good. But he should probably knock down that ladder, or at least do away with it somehow. As you can see here, let me show you guys. As you can see here, without knocking over the windmill, there's actually a ladder that goes up to the balcony here. I don't know if it just does not want to be in focus. Yeah, I can't get it into focus, guys, sorry. But you can see here, and guess what? Yes, you can access the interior. Let's take a look. The light's not very good here, but I thought I'd do my best to show you what we have going on in the interior. So let's look at the top floor. Let's try to zoom in and see if we can look at models that are here. So we've got a guardsman here on the top floor with a table in front of him, some furniture around him, and we've got there's actually now you can see the guardsman fairly well out through the front door, looking down at the incoming hordes. And you have a bunch of tables and stuff in here, and then finally the head, one of the captains, who's, again, all of these guys should be probably getting pretty nervous right now. Got this guy here down there, probably starting to, you better send out a carrier pigeon to say that they need reinforcements, because they are not going to do well. And there you go. And then we can close that up. Let's close that up. Boop. And let's keep going. All right, why don't we go down this road? So we showed you guys the road over there. That road, as you know, eventually does get to the castle over there. But let's follow it down and see what we have. The road, oh, there's something going on here. Another scene that I put together here. And you have what I'd like to call a scene called Surrounded. And by the way, look at that lovely waterfall. Very beautiful. Terranscapes again. Let's zoom in, and we will see our friend here, who's the barbarian, is completely surrounded by a bunch of pretty awesome looking Redbox Games little humanoids. I would call them, I guess, goblins. Fat goblins, smaller goblins, and we can look at them, and again, painted quite well. Let's see. Let's take a look at some of the cool. Let's take a look at some of these guys in the back here. Look at that guy. What is that? That is one homely looking goblin. Wow, those are ugly. Well done, Trey. These are ugly. Look at that guy. Anyways, they're all coming after him. Look at that guy. Awesome. And just all having at it. I think they can take down a single barbarian. Little do they know that he's 7th level and could probably own them all. Or not. I guess it's part of the fun. And that is a little vignette, perhaps, is that what we call it? And you can see the road, it keeps going. And the road keeps going, and it goes down yonder to the Dock City, which we'll look at shortly. But before we do that, again, I want to show you guys some of these models. So you've got two travelers here, Otherworld Miniatures, pointing over, recognizing that there's some commotion going on. And I would definitely say that there's a lot of commotion going on, given that there's a barbarian getting waylaid by a whole horde of goblins, and there's a bunch of barbarians that are actually attacking the tower. And so and let's keep moving forward. Now we're getting to the dock town, guys, which is really going to be a treat. I'm really going to enjoy looking at these. And here we go. These are the guards. These are the guards. Again, Redbox Games models. So you see that? Let's take a look at them. We'll zoom in a little more close to them. I lose focus too quickly. And you'll notice that there's Tabletop World models in the back. So as we approach the dock town, we'll take a look at this Tabletop World. This is actually one of the newer models that they turned out. It's the bridge. And you'll see here, it's really lovely. They did a really nice job with this model. Got a little boat here. Zoom in, take a look. You've got a wheel, a little wagon wheel, boat. And as we approach here, we're going to get to the docks, and then you'll see something that I find incredibly impressive, and that's. But before we do that, I want to show you guys some of these guards. I'm going to move this guy. You can get an idea of the scale, but I'm going to move this guy just a little bit so we can see him a little better. All right. Yeah, look at those guys, the two guards. Painted really well. Move that guy just a little bit so you guys can again see him a little better. Oops. Painted really well. It's painted and sculpted really well. I really enjoy it. Now, this is it. This is where we get to the dock town. Let's take a look. And I'm going to go through this. So you can see the docks appearing on the right. And you can see here some of the guards. Some more guards over here. Zoom in on them. And you can see yet more of the docks. Yet more guards in the distance. And eventually you got some, it's actually a tavern over here. Yet another tavern in the distance there. You can see some pirates actually. Now let's take a look at the dock. Look at that. Now we see, perhaps I would call this a masterpiece. This was, look at this beautiful set of ocean boards. And look at the full set of ships on this dock. It took Mike from Terranscapes. It took him about a year. I really think it took him 2 years to get to my project. It took him about a year to build this, but he did an outstanding job, and it really looks fantastic. So let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit and just enjoy some of his handiwork and also some of the models that we have here. So we'll look at some. We'll go up through the dock. These are meant for building authority docks. You also have some pirates, sailors / pirates on this boat. This boat was actually built by Jolly Blackburn, who really did a nice job with it. He casts them from resin, sells them on eBay, and I'm a huge fan of his comic book, Knights of the Dinner Table. Love his work. And I'm happy he sold me those boats, because they regularly make a nice addition to this scene, as they give me some nice smaller boats. Now take a look here. And these are some sailors on this fairly sizable boat. And we can take a look at the waves. I know if you guys really want to see this in detail, you can look at Mike's Terranscapes website. But look at how fantastic these waves are. Just did a really fantastic job, Mike. Well done. And here, again, just zooming in. I want to make sure I do justice to all of the artistry that's in this diorama. Take a look at those two models. And the boats. And again, sailors on the boats. Smaller boat here. All on the wonderful water. And let's see. So each one of these boats has some sailors on it. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. All right. It just looks great. And we have this wonderful island. Look at this, guys. So you got these boats, and then look at this boat. Take a look at some of these sailors on it and get in focus. Some sailors on the boats. These boats were made by a gentleman named Jeff Weffel, who's really just a wonderful guy. He's very talented. Very talented at making boats like this. They're all wood, and now they're fragile, so you got to be very careful with them for gaming purposes, but they look fantastic. So really enjoyed his work. And look at this awesome island. It's just, so again, another scene. We have another scene here. You've got an adventuring party that is assaulting the evil that lurks on this island. And I'm going to zoom in on the guy waiting at the boat. As you can see, these guys have done quite well for themselves. They're a high-level party. And this guy's waiting, is guarding the treasure right back on the boat. He looks pretty awesome. This is a Mierce Miniatures model. And if you look over here, there's a path that goes up to the top of the island. And right over here, you see this massive clash, a big battle. And this is between it, and you see there's evil temples here on top of the island. And there's a battle going on between an adventuring party and some evil that they've disturbed. Let's take a look at the evil first. You have here are some specters. You've got two specters. You have a lich. Now these are Otherworld models, these. You have this great lich. Ooh, let's see if we can get the lich in focus. Yeah, look at that lich. Man, I would not want to face that thing. And these stalwart adventurers are facing. And then, of course, there's the Demon Lord in the back. This is actually a GW model for Games Workshop Fantasy. And that guy is like a Nurgle type. He's looks like a Nurgle Space Marine Lord, but this is more of a D&D fantasy setting, so he can be used for that. I guess not Space Marine, but rather, Warhammer Fantasy type Chaos Lord. And let's take a look at the adventuring party and see if we can look at them from this side, as I really like how you've got these three badasses. And this guy here. These are Oh, come on, focus. Mierce Miniatures model, warrior. This one is a Avatars of War, I believe, model. And there's another Mierce Miniatures model. These guys are brawling. Yeah. And that, my friends, is yet another little story. And each one of these boats does have sailors on them. You can see that. So I'm going to zoom in and see if I can just take a quick peek at some of these guys, these sailors. They do have sailors on them. And let's look at the big boat here. Ooh. Two big boats. Again, we've got some sailors. Let's take a look at them. Yeah, let's see if we can do justice to some of these beautifully painted models. So the light isn't great here. You know what? I'm going to try to turn on another light that I have here. Let's see if I can get it on. Nope, wrong light. There we go. All right, I improved the light, so hopefully we'll be able to see this a little better. Yeah, I think now you can see really the details of the model. Just really hoping I can zoom in a little more without losing focus. That captain is just really just wonderfully painted. I love the freehand work on, and you can see some of the freehand work on these sailors as well. A little hard to see. Okay. And there's another guy in the back there. There you go. All right, we're almost done. Got one more set of guys to look at, and then we'll call it quits. Again, more sailors. Just really, really, really cool. Well, there you go, guys. All right, you know what? I am going to do one little flyby, a quick flyby, so you guys can see it from full table. Let's see. Oh, you know what? I missed something. Let me show you guys the second tavern. And here we go. That guy's pretty cool. And of course the waves look fantastic. Very, very pleased with that. And we've got another tavern scene. These guys are having a blast. Eating, drinking, toasting. That guy looks like he's had too much to drink. Got the waitress cleaning up. Waitress serving some food. Couple sailors. Of course, in the distance, we've got some of the guards. And just take a look at the shore just one last time. A quick look at the shores. there you go, guys. And why is this light off? Somebody turned off my light. I think I did. Yeah. You know what, let me turn this light on again. There we go. Okay. And there you go, guys. There's my diorama. I should mention one last thing. I'm going to be changing this diorama significantly. I've purchased a fair amount of the City Builder, Dwarven Forge City Builders system. They just came out with a Kickstarter. Actually, I guess it was about a year ago, but they're about to deliver the City Builder. The City Builder buildings are going to be delivered this month. It's January. And so I'm probably going to be putting together a fairly nice, hopefully city, town type situation using Dwarven Forge pieces. So I'm excited about that, and when I do that, I do intend to show you guys some of that as well. Thanks, guys.